Recording in progress.
Hello and welcome to another informative Connectionology webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your host, as always, Executive Director of Connectionology, Ginger Jarek.
All right. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited about this new webinar that we have with Connectionology because we have Bob Simon with us today, and we brought Destiny back. I know you guys are going to have a lot of great questions. I encourage you to put all those in the chat box, as well as the Q&A box. That way Destiny can kind of keep an eye on that. And then I want to thank our amazing partners that we have with us. We've got OnPoint, Physician Life Care Planning, and HMR. They're going to be joining us later in this webinar, so that way you guys can meet and hear a little bit more about what they specialize in. But we are so grateful for what they do. And if you need anything from me, I'll monitor the chat box as well. But let's go ahead and get started because we have a whole lot to cover. And as you guys know, we have Destiny, who's going to be our moderator. She's an attorney with the Romano Law Group in West Palm Beach, and she has a passion for helping others. And her practice basically focuses on civil litigation, criminal defense, as well as business litigation. And as a plaintiff's lawyer, she actually fights for all of those who have been catastrophically injured in semi-truck and car crashes. So she understands that drivers and companies need to be held responsible for all of their actions that cause these injuries. And you may have seen her on a lot of our webinars that we've done in the past when we've done our trucking webinars. So she's a great speaker, and we are so excited to have her. So Destiny, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, and I hope you guys have a great webinar.
Hi, Ginger. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm happy to be here today with you all, and I'm genuinely excited about today's speaker. We have Robert Simon, who is a top California trial lawyer. He's with the Simon Law Group in Hermosa Beach, California. Bob started his practice at 29 years old, and now only 11 years later, he's been voted Trial Lawyer of the Year by his peers in San Diego and Los Angeles and Orange County and the state of California. He founded the Simon Law Group in 2010 and refers to his team as the Justice Team. They consistently net 8 figures in profit year after year. He's always known for finding and cultivating young talent. He took it to the next level by founding the Justice HQ in 2020. Him and his team are always at the forefront of innovation, efficiency, and they're always known to be a good time. So let's jump in. And Bob, tell us, how do we make money as lawyers?
Well, you make money being a lawyer doing what it is we all do, whether it's in front of a jury or out on the street, is you have to be a salesperson. Don't be afraid of that word. Don't jump away from it. You have to realize, one, who is your market that you're selling to? Who sometimes it's 12 people in the box, 8 if you're in federal court or wherever. Or sometimes it is you're doing direct-to-consumer marketing. Sometimes you're doing business-to-business marketing, getting referrals from other lawyers or other subgroups. And, we'll talk a lot about that. But I think it first comes with identifying, I put the slide up here, is you got to break the golden handcuffs, right? And this is why I wanted to talk to everyone here is, you start to have a comfort of living as you come out of law school. Sometimes you have student debt, right? You take a job at a bigger defense firm or corporate firm, and they start paying you and they start giving you these benefits. And all of a sudden you're so comfortable in your life, you don't want to take a chance on yourself and leave. Well, I'm here to tell you that's all bullshit, and you can do it a lot better, jump right out of law school. A lot of people have done it very successfully. I'm the son of a truck driver, and we had, 5 kids in our family. So I didn't come from anything. I had no seed money. I had no banking me. I had no angel investors. I did this all just with grit, intuition, and doing these simple steps that I'm going to show you that I did, and how it's much, much easier now to break those gold handcuffs and get started. So I did some research. just these are California numbers, but average cost of tuition's insane. It's like 48K, right?
Yeah.
And I actually, did the math. I think you could start your own firm and operate it very well out Jump Street for under 30,000 a year.
Can you tell us how you started your firm and your practice in 2010?
Yeah, so I worked as a law clerk for 2 years for a firm and then 3 years as a lawyer at that firm. Rather than taking these jobs where I was offered like $120 to work at they like did some defense work or something, I don't remember, but I took a job rather paying 55,000 a year, but a third of what I brought in. And by year 2 as a lawyer, I made like 95,000 or something. And by third year, I made $250,000, right? And these are because I was generating business, doing these things I'm telling you. And they were like, the partners are too, and they came to me and they were like, they never thought I'd leave. And I was like, look, I just want like 1% of the cases I'm working on because I'm trying some of your cases. I'm bringing in a lot of business. And one partner said yes, one said no. So it was a no. So I was like, well, then I'm just going to start my own firm. Rented an office, which is $1,750 a month, which I shared with my little brother who graduated from college. I hired him. We shared it with a scanner copier. We were scanning in the mail all day and just like, chugging along. But it grew very quickly because, I tried 3 cases that first year. I figured out how to do things very efficiently, was getting a lot of good cases. Again, no digital marketing. I was not doing any of this other stuff that people are paying to do. This was all just free, what I call marketing. This is before social media was big. I mean, I know, Destiny, you were probably on Tom's top 5 friends on MySpace back then, for sure. But this is before the big use of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which makes it so much easier now to do those things. So yeah, went from there, and then I hired my twin brother. We formed the Simon Law Group in 2020. First time my firm 2009, 2010 that happened. And then it went off like a rocket ship. Like I started outsourcing some cases to partner with well-known child lawyers that I wanted to be my mentor, which we'll talk about. Tried cases with them, got huge results, learned how they try these big cases, and then allowed me to take these cases that I was working on to take it to the next level. And I've made a very cognizant decision when I started my firm is to check my ego at the door. Don't have to be the A1 dog for everything. And I recruited talented people first and taught them how to practice law. Most of the lawyers that are the best child lawyers at our firm that are, about to qualify 7-8 figure verdicts. None of us went to big law schools. I mean, I went to Pepperdine, which is a very good one, but a lot of them went to Thomas Jefferson. Like I think it's barely accredited, if accredited, that hungry when it walks in the door, and then you can teach all these other skills. But you got to pick. Do you want to go down? There's different paths you can do. Regardless of what it is, my opinion, you bet on yourself. There's no higher rate of return than a law firm. There just is not. Like if you want to put money in the stock market, enjoy your gains and losses of 10% based on somebody else's decision-making. Real estate's a good investment, right? It appreciates, but again, that's not going to be the rate of return that you have in your law firm if you put money into yourself. I've only put money back into my firm as I continue to make money, went back into the firm, grow the firm, expand. And that's how we reached 8-figure net as a firm, I think by 2016, 2017, and have done that every year. And it's not easy, but you have to keep up and doing these types of stuff. And I think this is the number one thing that everybody should take away from this: mentorship. People that do what you want to do. Yeah, Destiny.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You're good.
People that are already, there's people that are doing what you want to do. It already's out there. It exists. They have already been through the growing pains. They already know what it takes, how to get there. Reach out to those people. We have a very giving community in consumer lawyer groups. And I think everybody's listening kind of understands that. Reach out to folks. They'll be happy to help you. Right. So what I did is I just reached out. Before social media was easy, you could just literally slide into someone's DMs. I used to go to speaking engagements, conferences, hound these people whose life I wanted my life to be like, whose practice I wanted my practice to be like. And now they're like my best friends, so, but you have to put yourself in that room, put yourself in this situation and kind of force the issue. I just take very quick, firm structure, you have to think of how you want to do it. If you have partners, realize you're dealing with personalities, other decision makers. Are you going to do it yourself? just quick compliance stuff. And I have a checklist I can send you of things that you have to do. It's actually very important, not so much what your firm name is, but what your brand is going to be. And this is why. If you're giving somebody an email address and it is Robert at, and you list 5 partner names or initials, guess how easy that is not to remember.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why we rebranded and trademarked the Simon Law Group to Justice Team, which is trademarked now. So you go to, so my email is robert@justiceteam.com. Easy. You go to justice.team, it goes to like our swag store. So think about very cognizantly. That's why you see a lot of successful firms are just naming it like Wilshire Law Group, right? California Advocates. Easier because that's kind of, if it's a keyword, consumers will find it organically if you're typing. But think about how easy it is. Sales 101, people have to see or hear it 4 or 5 times before they remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not going to remember. These are actually real names like, what is this? Dumbass and McPhail. I mean, there was one that was Low, Lynch and Ball was the name of a defense firm up in the Bay Area here. Like, are you joking? So, but I remembered it.
Yeah.
But these are very easy things that everybody here can do. It is so cost effective. This is not cost prohibitive at all. We have a store. It's just a Shopify store, which we do funny things on. Like it has like goes down easy. Whiskey goes down easy like our opponents. Like we just do funny, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
It has a call to action like legal need, go to justice.team. And if you go to justice.team, you could enter in like it's like our website, but it's a subdomain and it'll go straight to a chat bot. Now, why is that important? As soon as a consumer, a lawyer, anybody goes to that page, puts in their information, it goes back into my CRM, a client resource management. All of you now have to be very cognizant of, yeah, you're making these connections. People are reaching out to you. How do you save that? And how do you continue to market that effectively? Because you have to, your time, you cannot scale. You can only, this is an hour that I'm doing. Yes, I'm doing my fantasy baseball draft at the same time. I might get distracted. I already told Destiny it might happen. We're in the 13th round. I might be coming up here soon. But you have to realize that you have to save all of that data and then be able to communicate on scale. So there are a lot of these CRMs I can talk to you about it, like the one that we use. You can do SMS campaigns. Everybody that's in there, you can group them, maybe law students, maybe bankruptcy lawyers, maybe car injury clients, right? And you can just send a mass text to them through the platform, everything's saved. As you're going to talk to a lot of people that are in sales and growth, they will tell you the open rate for SMSs are far superior to emails.
Wait, go back. What is SMSs? You lost me.
Text messages.
Oh, okay. Got it.
People live off of their cell phones.
Right.
So, you know, I will more often check all of this text messages rather than my emails. I mean, we're all busy. You get thousands a day, right?
For sure.
So the more people, and I was on a podcast with a guy that has, you know, his company has a multi-billion-dollar valuation. We were talking about it. He's quicker to respond to his Instagram DMs than his text messages, than his emails. So remember, the younger generation too, that's where they're going to go. These are very simple steps. Compliance stuff, I'll show you all this stuff. You just register your DBA, your firm names. It's just got to check your local rules. Little about my story, I have a twin brother. So I have the luxury of having another lawyer that is my twin that loves operations.
Okay.
So very important. If you are starting a firm today, you need to have somebody that wants to do the business side of things. There's no way you can be successful unless you have that person. It can be you, and then you can hire a lawyer to do the skill set that you don't want to do, trying cases, depositions, pre-lit, whatever it is. But if you have, I had a clone, thank God, but we actually used to go to half of our classes in college at George Washington in DC. We both show for the final and try to hide on either side of the room so they couldn't catch us. But if it doesn't have to be a lawyer a lot of times. If you have an operations director, if you have like a CTO type person, it could be somebody that's outsourced that can handle those things. And they have to know and keep abreast on legal tech, because you can automate your law firm right now. You just have to know who to ask and how to set it up.
So talk to us about how you're figuring out the delegation and how you're determining, you know, what areas you should be spending time on and what areas you need to be delegating out to somebody else.
I am a strong believer of take a piece of paper right now. On one side, write all the things that you love to do, and you want to do full time. On the left side, put all the other shit. That stuff on the left side, outsource it or find somebody else that's within your firm that wants to do those things. Because if you can find a way, and all I wanted to do, and I did this early on, I wanted to try cases, I wanted to bring in cases, I wanted to do mentorship at the firm. That's all I do. Right? So some people, they just want to do writing. Some people just want to rainmake, right? But you have to find a way to make that work for you. So I just put some books here, and this is a book that I read early on. And everybody knows John Morgan of Florida, right? Everywhere. But this is a good book. It's You Can't Teach Hungry, and it still holds true today. And if anybody, I have a list of books and stuff that you can read, but these are types of things that you have to realize. You are starting a business. You are a startup. Start listening to this book I have sitting here, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, right? You have to start realizing that you are in the business of running a law firm, and you can scale it like none other. You just have to do it smartly with as low overhead as possible. You can go the big firm route. You can start up your own shop. You can go to the PD or DA's office. These are just choices you're going to have to make, and listening to your mentors and see what path that they took. I'll tell you, if you go to the PD or DA's office, there is a slow, if you want to get into civil, when you're there, you're not in discovery. You don't have the litigation skills. So you're going to have to move over and start learning those. However, if you go to the PD and DA's office, you probably have a wide net of referral sources that you probably don't realize that you have. So it's kind of a cost benefit analysis. I know a lot of people that came out of doing the criminal stuff, very successful trial lawyers in civil, because they leverage their networks in getting a lot of cases. So they bring in cases, they get the front end, refer all the cases out for a percentage as a placeholder, and then they can swing back in trial and up their percentage to try the case. Different thoughts, okay? Fast tax used to be so much more expensive to start a firm. We used to have to wire shit for phones and internet. You just need a web-based internet right now, internet connection, a virtual office, and off you go. Like, it's not that difficult. I put some California ones here, but they're just organizations, some of which are free, some of which are low costs. These are your community. This is your community outlet. This is how you question, you ask outreach to people. They send you samples. Lawyers are too afraid to say, what if the consumer hires me? I don't know what to do. Fuck, that's the easiest thing to solve. You can do it on Google. You can ask your network. They can show you how to solve the problem, right? Don't lose an earning opportunity because you're intimidated by the case. If you think it has value, maybe you refer it out for a percentage. Maybe you do it in combination with somebody else where they give you a percentage of the fee. You learn together, right? There are specialists already that do all of these things. There's calendars. You just go in any one of these organizations, like Trial School is a good one in California that Rich Newsom does. If you go there, you can see things, videos on demand. You can see, I have a closing argument on there. You see how-tos for specific things. There's a wealth of information already sitting out there for you. Now, this is why we created Justice HQ, because the membership, we solved all the shit that I hated when I started my firm. 24/7 office space solution to all the places. Members all have to be approved before they get in. We help people with their media. We have a case exchange to get cases. Taking all the business side stuff out of it so lawyers can actually lawyer and do the things that they want to do. We have a platform where people do their own webinars, create all of their own adventures. Media is very powerful. Why? Because the more that you're seeing these folks on social media or presentations, guess what? They become a specialist in that field. Their name is now higher ranked whenever you search someone. They're starting to get cases.
Sure.
I do zero. People are always shocked. I do zero digital marketing, no SEO, no pay-per-click. I built this entire firm off of personal relationships and off of social media. Those are free, right? It's more targeted. These are types of chat rooms you should be in with people that are specialists that come together to help you. They're not people in your firm. This is why we created. So what we do in California, what you can do in Florida, other jurisdictions in Texas, you just have certain disclosures. If you are partnering with another firm, if that firm's a specialist in their area, maybe it's sexual abuse cases, maybe you brought in a really good sexual abuse case, you've never done one before, bring in somebody else who has. Split the fee percentage, let them carry the cost. It's all a negotiation. That way you get the earning opportunity, you get to learn on somebody else's dime, but you were still holding close that contact, that client, and you're monetizing it, right? So these are out there all the time. They go to the Romano firm in Florida, they'd be happy to co-counsel with you on anything, right? And then you see how it's done. You can see all the secret sauce. You end up making money. So I did this early on. with Brian Panish's firm and with Gary Dordick's firm, where I split the fee 50-50. This is my first 2 or 3 years out on my own after I tried 3 cases by myself and was trying to run the firm, put a friggin' hole in my stomach with stress. But I was like, oh, I want to see how these guys do it. First trial I did with Brian Panish, we had a $9 million verdict collected, right? Like, but I learned, like, I still have this PowerPoint that we used in that case. It was a spine case. And I was like, I could do this. So since then, I think I've tried like 30 to 40 spine fusion cases, all got 7 or 8 figures off of them. And Panish still tells me I owe a royalty fee for him for every one of them. But it's not, people have already been there and done it. You just have to keep learning and keep pushing. And just be cognizant that a lot of people are going to go the way of the dodo bird, the saber-toothed tiger, because they cannot keep up with technology or realizing you could do things differently. You don't need to lawyers waste so much money on office space and trophy office space when, I mean, I'm working at home. This is my whiskey room / my office. This is where I work every day. People's like, where's your office? I'm like everywhere. Sometimes I'm in the car. I'm rarely ever in an office, ever. I'm in gym shorts most of the time, board shorts, flip-flops. But speaking of flip-flops, there's Gary Dordick at the Trial College. So I'm a very big believer in the following things. No matter how you boil this down, this industry is built on personal relationships. That's just how it is. You work with people that you trust and want to work with. If you like Destiny, you have her cell phone number and she's communicating with you right away, guess what? That's a working relationship that's going to be there forever. As long as you're receptive to people, you get back to them, you take care of them. And you can do it on scale. There's different apps to do those types of things and platforms to do mass text and get back to people. But that's who people want to work with. So that's why I love these types of conferences. We did one called Bourbon of Proof in Kentucky, where we did the education, actually the CLE in between the distillery tours. But it was pairing people the guests with people that would help them in the industry. If it's a pre-litigation firm, maybe they could run more efficient systems with these folks, right? Gary Dordick's thing is a Trial College one in Cabo, which is fantastic. Again, you're making these connections that can change your life. Like I've started so many companies law adjacent based by meeting with these people at these conferences and finding out what they're really good with and having a few drinks and talking about, oh, well, that open. I never thought of it like that, right? And then we partnered and started some other very good conferences. So there's all these different opportunities. And I know Ginger's going to talk about, and Destiny probably could too, some other ones that are coming up, like in Savannah, et cetera, and Nashville, that the more you're meeting these folks, the more you're connected, the better. Because if you go to California events and you are a Florida lawyer, you're going to get a lot of bucket of California cases because people
For sure.
Who's the Florida lawyer I need, right? So put yourself in these groups where you are the other person. You're not like if you're in a Florida listserv of all personal injury lawyers.
Yeah, you're in there with all your competition.
Correct. But if you are in a a startup listserv and you're the only personal injury lawyer in there, guess who's going to get every single personal injury inquiry that comes through?
Right? For sure.
We're doing Law this year again. It was one we started, and this is in San Diego. Last year we had Nellie and Flo Rider. This year we have some other people we can't disclose yet, which would be even better. But again, personal relationships, real education. We have a spine lab where doctors are going to do spine surgeries. People can watch and ask questions, these types of stuff. Now, this is what I'm talking about with learning to outsource. These are all things that you can have somebody else do on a 1099. If you want to be successful and make money, you have to spend less money on the infrastructure of your firm. This is very easy to do. Phone systems, you can use Ring Central. I mean, people have web-based phones that can tie into your case management platform. It all just syncs. There's an app called Zapier, Zapier, and you should see any tech company that you're getting with, does it sync with Zapier? Because if you do it, like I have Slack, our communication portal, which syncs with my CRM that I use. So anytime you get a new contact from the website, it goes right into my CRM that then pings me onto Slack and lets me know that there's a new referral that comes through and it's all saved. Same thing, it syncs with like CasePeer, Clio, FileVine, all these things will sync in the background. This is why you need someone that just keeps up to date on the operations type of stuff. Document handling, there's outsourced mail centers like Earth Class Mail that will scan all your mail for you, OCR it, and send it directly to your platform. I wasted so much damn time early on scanning and my own mail, naming, putting it where it needs to go. But these things, there's companies out there that do all these things. I put a few of them here. but it'll be different for, where you are, but reach out to me. I have a bunch of resources for these things. Again, you should outsource the stuff that you don't want to do or you're not good at, and focus on the stuff that you want to, because once you're doing those things, you become a specialist in the things that you love. It resonates with people and you get more and more referrals from it. Look how easy it is now to sign up clients. Like this is Vine that we use for Vine sign.
Right.
It's so simple. Then clients don't, I don't meet a lot of my clients until like trial, like personally. Sometimes it's on Zoom and they're comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't
Well, I just find a lot of our clients don't have printers and hookups for, for doing all that. So the Vine sign or DocuSign is ideal.
Yeah. And you need anybody that starts their firm. I was talking to a guy in Chicago today. We're just helping with he reached out, just from social media, and he's a lawyer that's also, or he's a doctor that's also a lawyer. And we're talking about branding. He asked me what's probably the best case management platform to be on. And I think it really depends. Like, I think these other things are better than others. And that's why I do the research and I can help tell you which one I think is best and because I know the CEO founders of a lot of these folks and where they're going with it. And it's just going to depend on what type of firm you want to be. You should answer this right now. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years? If you don't have that answer, it could be, I want a high quality of life. I want to work 20 hours a week. Well, you got to start pushing yourself to make sure that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be stuck at a law firm working 40, 50 hours plus a week for somebody else if your plan is different. It's how do you define success? Write that down. How do you define success?
Yeah, for sure.
Easy things like this. I have a gaming company. We're like testing it on Zoom, this type of shit. Automate discovery. I mean, this is stuff that didn't exist that I had to pay people to do. Now you can do it with software, AI that just does it for you. Networking. Okay, this is a big one. Like I've had my own podcast for a long time. I get so many cases from my podcast. A shit ton. People don't realize that. This is an old one. We have a lot of subscribers, a lot more episodes, but a lot. And we do it for free. Like we go and record these for free. You can start a podcast today or tomorrow. There's nothing stopping you. Promote it on social media. If you get one case a month from it, that's worth it. It's totally worth it for you.
Yeah.
And you can have guests on. You can reach out to anybody and be like, hey, people love to talk about themselves, especially trial lawyers, right? So get on interesting guests, co-collaborate, but it's a no-brainer. It's so easy to do these things. Now, this seminar has not been about, we did it once, not the only time we ever advertised. My brother and I put ourselves in the back of buses because we thought it was funny, right? And this is running down to Orange County. We did one run of it, but we did it something a little more fun. Where on social media, we ran a campaign. If you defile one of our faces on the bus, we'll give you like free Angels tickets. I forget what it was, but that worked way better than the bus run because people are like, this is hilarious. They're encouraging us to write on their faces. If you have the money and the backing to do billboards and digital marketing, God bless you. This talk's not for you, right? Otherwise, I mean, marketing to me is different than advertising. Marketing's being it's not like shotgun to consumers. And look how easy this is now. Okay. Podcast we talk about. Instagram. What is stopping you from having a really cool, catchy handle that's specialized in your field that people are going to remember like this, that you're putting out educational stuff that's also kind of funny, that's who you are. It's free. I know you're getting $1 million cases that just hand them off to somebody else for a percentage. And they're just generating videos on TikTok and Instagram. Sounds cheesy, but it works, right? And I think I love the reels. I think they're hilarious. LinkedIn is good because you can like segregate specific like groups. And if you want to get really granular with it, once you have a little bit more money, you want to do direct like targeted ads on Facebook or Instagram, which are still very successful. If you're deliberate enough about it, that one AI app that we use for our intake, it'll sync. Zapier will have it sync with it. So if a new contact comes through one of your Facebook ads, it'll automatically go into your client resource management. So you could save it and market that person later, even if it's not, you can't help on that specific case. Again, all this shit is free. There's no reason not to be doing it.
So you're encouraging everyone to be on all of the platforms then, essentially Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those platforms. Yeah.
I mean, you could pick one or two and just be consistent on it. I mean, I'm certainly far more on Instagram than any other thing. Facebook's far too like crazy political for me, and it pisses me off just being on for 5 seconds. So I'll drop in, say something, get out, just to But Instagram I get a lot of cases from. And this is where, shifting away from social media is look at all your buckets of people that you have that are getting cases that you want. I talked to a guy from South Florida about a week ago, and he reached out through social media, and we were talking about, he worked in the DA's office. And I said, why aren't you just leveraging, taking out to lunch once a week, everybody used to work with, their friends, and telling them that, you do this now, that you're a specialist, that you went from sex abuse cases prosecuting to now doing the civil side of this. You know how many people are just going to give you cases based off of that? A lot. They do a lot of bar fight and assault cases. Okay, so talk about how you know how many victims go to the DA's office at a bar fight or somebody's catastrophically injured. That starts there a lot of the time. Investigating officer sends the DA. The DA says, hey, you probably need a civil attorney. If you just keep that bucket of people happy, that's enough cases forever,
Yeah, for sure.
Law school mates, don't lose that. Like a lot of people you went to law school don't do what you do. Get their emails, send out emails, text them all and say, hey, I take personal injury. I pay referral fees. You'll get cases.
There you go.
You're done, right?
Yeah.
But leverage those contacts. If you do what I do, I'm friends with a lot of orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeons, because I forced myself into making relationships with those folks. Chiropractors, they will start referring you cases. But think about what I call intermediary referral sources, people that give you buckets of cases. The clients that you're looking to, go to them. If you're an immigration attorney, where are those clients going, right? Think about it. If you are a criminal attorney, where are those cases like generally going where people bail bondsmen? Maybe they need bail. Maybe that's how you're going to make good friends with that person. They refer you a lot of criminal clients. I know a lot of high profile criminal defense lawyers here in Los Angeles, and they have like the general managers of all the entertainment companies, because anytime a high level celebrity gets in trouble, they call their agents, their GMs, and then they refer them to these people because they have built in those relationships. And then it just catapults. You'll just see once you start your firm, it goes like this and this and this, because everybody has a cousin and a friend. And if you're easy to get a hold of and they like you, it makes it so easy.
Yeah, you have to lay the foundation there. I think we are ready to bring in some of our sponsors. So we'll take a quick break. Ginger, hi, Ginger. Do you have all of our sponsors ready?
I sure do. And Bob, this has been such good information. Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
No problem.
Yeah, just a quick break real quick, because I wanted to introduce to everybody two of our amazing partners. The first one is going to be Connor with Physician Life Care Planning, and he's going to come in and share with you guys a little bit more about what he does there. But they've got, I think over 80 different experts and doctors all over the country that they work with. They're just a fantastic group. Hi, Connor. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, how are you? Great to be here.
Great. Tell us a little bit more about what you guys do.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Physician Life Care Planning is a nationwide provider of damages valuation services who specializes in the formulation of future medical requirements, loss of earnings capacity, and loss of household services. And like you said, we do have over 80 physician life care planners throughout the country, as well as economists and vocational experts. And what really sets us apart is all of our life care planners are practicing medical doctors who are board certified in physical medicine and rehabilitation, or physiatrists. And I think that's really important because they see those types of individuals on a daily basis in their practice or at the hospital, wherever they're at. And that makes them really uniquely qualified to provide and defend a strong medical foundation in life care planning based on that experience. So really we can offer life care plans, loss of earnings capacity assessments, loss of household services assessments, and present or future value assessments all under one retention agreement. And we also have affordable, transparent, fixed rate pricing with a standard turnaround time right now of 8 weeks. And another thing I wanted to add is that over 75% of our cases right now are non-catastrophic. And I think that's an important point because a lot of times people may have the misconception that life care plans are only reserved for catastrophic cases. And the reality is, in the life care planning process, we do have a interview and an exam with the individual. And a lot of the times that comes up with overlooked injuries. If they're in there for a herniated disc, they might not notice that they might need, adjacent disc surgery in years to come. And that really does add value to the cases. Also, we do have a database of completed life care plans, thousands of them. If anyone would like to see a sample life care plan, it'll take me a very short time to redact. And I will leave my my contact information in the chat. So if anyone wants to see a sample, would like to see any of our pricing or any of our expert CVs, just please feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Connor. And like I said, we love working with you guys. We really enjoy your team. And John Romano, the entire Romano Law Group, works with you guys and thinks the world of what you do. So thank you for everything. And I hope everybody watching will definitely check in with Connor. And feel free to ask him if you have any questions. Just follow up. So thanks, Connor.
Thank you.
All right. And now I'm very, very excited to also introduce to you guys Dawn with OnPoint Legal Nurse Consulting. Again, another amazing group of individuals and nurses and just a staff that just is so receptive. We love working with them as well. Dawn's going to share with you guys a little bit more about what they specialize in.
Hey, thanks, Ginger. Nice to be here today. I'm the program director for the Expert Witness Location program at OnPoint, and I've loved listening to Bob. And one of the things he said that really resonated was to make a list of what you want to do and love to do and what you should delegate. So I'm pretty sure that you and your team do not love record retrieval. I don't know about the term. I talk to a lot of your staff, and that's the bane of their existence. I'm pretty sure you probably don't love overpaying experts to review very disorganized medical records. And you probably don't like spinning your wheels to find experts either. And these are all things that OnPoint can help you with, that you can just kick right out of your office and maximize your productivity within your office. We can start at the very beginning, get your records. We have nurses that can OCR them, put them in order. When they go out electronically to the expert, they're going through very efficiently. It's more cost effective for you. Some of the things that I'm pretty sure you do like doing is maximizing your case values. And we can help you do that with cost projections. Life care plans are great for big catastrophic cases. For some of the smaller cases, for instance, even ankle and foot injuries, where there's no spine injury, it's an ankle. We've had cost projections where rather than go through an entire record, do an exam like a life care plan, we can have a life care planning nurse review the whole record or review the treating physician's recommendations, put together a cost projection. And for instance, on the ankle case that I mentioned, we were able to get an increase in case value by an estimated $86,000. For a cost projection that the attorney paid less than $2,000 for. Also, we do pain and suffering reports. Defense counsel hates seeing pain and suffering reports because this puts into something that's very relatable to a jury about what your plaintiff actually went through and experienced. You know, what's it like to be have wound debridements or to be suctioned, and it really just spells it out and creates such a crystal clear picture that it's really difficult for them to defend. Bob also mentioned relationship building, and that's what OnPoint really prides itself on doing, is being more of a concierge type of service where, you know, I speak with my attorneys. I have a whole team behind me. Sometimes the attorneys don't realize how many folks are involved in making things happen for them, but I'm personally available to talk about cases. I've been a nurse for more than 35 years with a very varied experience in ER, critical care, administration, OR. So it doesn't cost anything to call me and bounce your case off of me, and I can help point you in the right direction with experts and help keep things really on target. So I love the opportunity to talk with you about how we might work together. I'll post my info on the chat box, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the seminar.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Dawn. And I encourage everybody, definitely reach out to her and save her information, because later on you might need it or think of something that you want to ask. Dawn is incredible, you guys. So thank you so much for being with us, Dawn, and we'll see you soon, okay? And another thing I wanted to mention is that all three of our incredible partners today, HMR, OnPoint, and Physician Life Care Planning, they're all going to be with us in Nashville at our TBI seminar, which is coming up, gosh, in like 4 to 5 weeks. It's April 30th through May 3rd. I put the information in the chat box for you guys, so go check it out. Like I said, I think it was like the day before yesterday, some of the best trips and the best conferences I've ever been to are ones that I just do spontaneously. And this is one that you don't want to miss, including the one that Bob is going to be doing in July, sorry, which is Mardi Gras. You want to be there at that too. So, all right, I'm gonna hand it back over to you guys, and thank you again so much.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much to Dawn and Connor. I know that our firm works with both of them, and the pain and suffering reports that Dawn was talking about are super impactful. Definitely get copies of them if you haven't seen them. You'll probably definitely want to utilize them moving forward. Okay, so Bob, I know we were talking about social media and things like that. Can you go through some social media do's and don'ts? I know it can be intimidating for some of us who haven't been on the platform as much.
Yeah, so I was answering some questions here. So, I've been with compliance people that do, the ethics and social media and stuff. I've done a podcast on that. It's a good listen for the Justice Team podcast. We had a specialist in there talk about those types of things. Pretty much the rule is if you are directly soliciting like a product and you have a financial interest, you have to disclose it. That's why you see a lot of, like my wife is Christine Bullock. She does a lot of stuff when she has her services on social media that she sells a lot of her products. And she has a lot of times where companies will pay her to promote that product. If that's happening, you have to say like paid in partnership with or in partnership with, right? Just those little guidelines. You don't want to get dinged for something silly, but it's a lot looser with these types of these laws. I mean, especially with like Instagram stories. I mean, these things go away within 24 hours. So somebody would have to like screenshot, then try to rat you out. It's just like,
right.
Where's the police? But if you are just out there promoting yourself and educating people on your niche, maybe it's workplace injuries, maybe it's like forklift accidents, right? That's all fine. You're not directly soliciting anybody. It's an educational thing, just like doing a YouTube educational video. Or if you're being funny and relatable, like that's all totally fine. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But people know if you're on, I think a big do not do is don't be fake. People know if it's the cookie cutter bullshit. They just know. It just is. So you have to be yourself, voice, be funny for what it is. Remember, people that are hiring you, they want to work with people they like, that are like them. You see that more and more these days. Like they don't want that old white lawyer with the law book standing behind them, right? It just doesn't work that way anymore. So yeah, it's changed. But I think these things I put here is leveraging your networks. Like this is Sienna, and she's now out counsel with us. She was one of our child lawyers. We tried a lot of cases together, and she brings in a ton of cases because she's big in the community. She's Panamanian. She's an ex-DA. She's leveraged her contacts to bring in a lot of cases. She goes to a lot of events, corresponds with people immediately. And this is BJ Abrams, who's a friend of mine. He's trying a case for us right now that we outsourced through Justice HQ that wasn't within like our threshold. He's out there slugging it out. We sit on a chat room with him to help him with filing motions or giving advice as he goes. And the judge is absolutely bonkers and he is having fun, but his car got towed after day one. He couldn't find it. He thought somebody stole his car. It was just, but DJ brings in a lot of cases because he does a lot of stuff in the community. He's talking to a lot of people. Again, these are all things you can do free. Now, other thing I want to talk about is what I call art direction. We're big into the media stuff, and I think you have to have a cognizant voice of this. These are the things that I think should be looked now. These are the women of Athea. They have their own law firm. Randy begins in the inner circle. They only let 100 people into the inner circle for the child lawyers, right? People want to see these types of photos. They want to see somebody that's relatable. That's not the old stodgy stuff, because these are the photos that end up going into magazines because they cut and paste all this stuff. You want to seem relatable and fun. People like smiles. They've done studies off of these things. If you got a bad grill, fix it. I mean, you hate to say it. People like nice, white, shiny teeth. They've done study on these things. They just do. But these things, you should know how to get into networks, to get into periodicals. You could write your own articles at daily journals and all these different things. They'll do it for you. Again, all these things, if you put yourself in the network, they will have speaking engagements for you. Again, helping you build your brand, your credibility that you then need to save, put on your website, put on social media, repurpose it, because the more people are seeing you and remembering you as a specialist, the more that they come to you. This is all free stuff.
Yeah.
I put never not working. I like that term, but I think you can use it differently. Like you're always working and never working at the same time. It kind of makes sense, because I can be here spending time with my family, but if I get a call or something, if I have the system set up right, the big case comes in, they just want to talk to me, I can step off and handle it because I get a certain buzz for those types of things.
So maybe talk to us too about work-life balance. I know I'm a young mom and I'm an attorney, and it's hard sometimes to manage. And you're a father and a husband and an attorney and a business owner. And how are you balancing all of these things?
I think you have to be deliberate about it. And again, it goes back to planning of how do you want to spend your time and making sure that that happens. Like at our firm, we let everybody work from home. Like I have 70 employees, 23 lawyers. We're all remote. Like people staggering from the offices. We use Justice HQ to come in to help mentor people and talk about cases, but people come and use that when they want to. So you have to find positions and places where they'll give you a quality. And sometimes that means you have to work for yourself. Now, you have to be deliberate, in my opinion, with like schedules and being there for your family, your kids. I have 2 daughters, 4 and 1, about to have another one this summer. So we have 5 girls under 5. My wife runs her own company. She's going through a raise right now through her skincare supplement line. You imagine meeting with VCs every day, right? But you have to figure out, like we stagger, like we have a big master calendar here for the family. And it's like, all right, I'm taking one daughter to school. We mark it on the calendar. Again, these things should all sync. They pop off on our phone and things like this. But I make a very cognizant effort to make sure that I always wanted to be there to raise my family, to be there as a dad. I put myself in a position where I wanted to go start my own firm and do that. I'm going to, my wife and all of our family, we're going to Europe for 6 weeks, May through July. I said, fuck it. We're going to live in Saint-Tropez and Majorca, go back and forth. We're both going to work there. We know the time difference. We've been deliberate with it. We set stuff up where people are sleeping here. As soon as the world wakes up in the US and we have to work for 4 or 5 hours, we got a nanny for those 4 to 5 hours so we can work and do our stuff and off to bed. But you have to be deliberate and plan about it. I try to pick, like, Wednesdays for me are usually my outside of my firm days. That's where I spend time on the other companies that I own and run. I'm very deliberate about doing stuff, taking all the meetings I need to do. Also about taking meetings, stagger them all so they're all on the same day if you can do it. Like I know I have a busy day in Orange County, so I just set all the meetings of people I need to meet with all in one day. Just go boom, 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 and do it.
Do you have any physical offices? I know it's one of the questions that's coming in too. Or are you exclusively remote?
I have physical offices, but they're also, our physical offices are through Justice HQ. We all have locations where they're all shared workspaces by the elite lawyers who are allowed into the membership. So we just work from those spaces. Downtown LA, Orange County, San Diego's opening soon. South Bay will be opening up in San Francisco. So I always thought it was much better to be, for lawyers and staff, to be in the mix with other people knowledgeable in their space. Again, we have a virtual platform too, where people talk all the time, but I think it's important to be in the mix whenever you want to or need to. You talk about being a young mom. I mean, once you get your kid off to school or with the nanny, I like to grind. Like I say, as soon as I drop my daughter off at 8:30, I grind until 3 p.m. and I pick her up. And then it's just corresponding casually, hanging out with the kids. That's my schedule, right? Yeah. And before I had kids, my day stopped at 4:05 p.m. That was first pitch for baseball. So I was like, that's when I'm going to be done with like grinding work. No depositions at that time. And look, I've been doing remote depots for years and telling people you need to do this stuff. Like I took 3 neurosurgeon depots yesterday, all from this sitting right here with this, all my whiskey sitting behind me with a spine back there, which is always a little intimidating, right? Right next to the dog, I got a lumbar spine. But yeah, I think you really, really got to be deliberate with it, Destiny, and don't feel like you have to work somebody else's hours because they're telling you you have to. It just doesn't work that way, especially if you work for yourself. So.
What about, go ahead.
I forgot I had this duck go thing. I just like to do funny shit, but again, people need to know that they're looking for you. If you've built a name, a reputation, a brand, and they can't remember your name, just remember your brand, they go and Google you, it should still find you and you should look like a specialist in your space. These things are not expensive to do. Intermediary referral sources. You go labor lawyers, they get a bunch of people that have labor disputes. I know somebody that's doing a lot of landlord tenant cases. And he just goes to like the labor, like the housing board. People complain about that. You're investigating a slip and fall. I used to go when I was investigating a slip and fall when I was a young lawyer. I said, knock on every single person's door, and I speak Spanish, so I'd talk to everybody there. Hey, I'm investigating. Anybody know what happened to that elevator type deal, right? And it always lead into, oh, you're a lawyer? Well, I got in a car accident. Well, here's my card, right? I mean, I would just spend my day knocking on people's doors in apartment buildings, but people could do that for habitability cases. Again, it sounds cheesy. I used to set up a frigging free legal advice booth for swap meets. and just sit there and give out funny swag and just talk to people. Again, people, everybody loves free shit. My dad will wear a free t-shirt every day of his life. I gave him.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So do I. Like, whatever, it is what it is. Find a specialist, monetize the asset, split points. Okay. 100% of $1 million is still $1 million. 50% of $20 million is $10 million. And if you're splitting the work, just never think that you have to do all the work and get all the money. You can make more money by splitting up the percentage of fees that you have, because it allows you to go get more cases, do what you're good and what you want to do, and doesn't burn your time. The most successful, highest quality of life lawyers that I know have mastered the ability to just get a bunch of cases, be the general counsel for those clients, find the specialists, get their referral fee, stay as the point of contact for that client. So somebody else is spending the money on litigation, doing the work. They're getting a percentage for having a high-end concierge service to get that person. And you can do that from anywhere in the world that you want to. You can do it from Hawaii, you can be in the Caribbean. You just have to have a phone or a quick way to get back to people. And somebody asked the same question. So depending on your jurisdiction, there's ethical fee splits and rules for it. California and in Texas, you just have to have it into the retainer, or you have to have the client sign off that they know there's a fee split. In Texas and I know in Florida, you also have to like kind of prove, right, the value you brought.
Exactly.
So in Florida, right. How's it actually policed? I mean, is it?
Yeah, no. I mean, essentially, you can work through an agreement, and then you'll have the judge, any judge within the district sign off on it. So it's pretty manageable, and I haven't had any clients or judges that had any issues with it. So.
Yeah, and it can be as easy as like we sit in chat rooms with different lawyers we work a lot of cases with, and we go back and forth. So it does have real value for people that are just the client liaison that has a relationship with the client. That has a lot of value, and if you can back that up by showing, if you had to, all the messaging and emails and text messages to go back and forth.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. We're on the same page. But yeah, you should look up. We trademark Justice Team, some of our slogans, bourbon approved, all these. I did things that I want to do that I think are fun. Like I love drinking whiskey. I love it. Like I don't have a problem, but whatever. So I started Bourbon Approved, a whole thing where I would interview lawyers over whiskey. We started a whole Bourbon Approved tour. We have a conference out of it, I did something that I love and make it your brand and something that people wanted. And I was actually shocked how many other lawyers love the same thing, but it is what it is.
We have some questions about what service, I guess. So the question is, so Justice HQ offers that same service. I think they're maybe asking about what the services they offer.
Oh, that was the mail. So yeah, for our members, we do have like lockers in each location. And as the mail comes in, it'll get scanned at OCR and sent to you. There's another vendor called Earth Class Mail, and I think they got bought out by, might be one of the big legal company. I think LegalZoom bought them for a lot of money, but what we've done before is there's a third-party location where all of our mail would go to. That would be like your, mail to here of your firm, and your mail would go there. We get all scanned, OCR'd and sent to you. We synced it with our case management platform. Also, those types of services can also cash your checks for you. It's like any other scan and cash check services. Again, you just need to vet these services and see how good it works, and more importantly, how it syncs with the other systems. There's ways, like we have a company called Bolster Legal that all of our mail gets OCR'd, scanned, sent to a location where we can see it. This other outsourced company can see it. They name it for us, put it into our files where it needs to go, and then we just get like an email the next morning that shows all the files and where they went. If we need to correct something, we do. But man, that used to be a shit ton of like employee burn to do those things. Now you can outsource at 1099, and it's not those types of things. So we're going to do a lot of Q&A here because I think it's specific for people in each different thing. Here's my contact information. You can text me anytime. I check my Instagram DMs probably more than anything. So if you want to reach out, I always do phone calls or Zooms one-on-one if I'm not in trial, and just go over stuff. So yeah, happy to let's keep feeding questions here.
All right, so let's go through a couple here then. How is the process of practicing law different for you now in 2022 versus in 2010? 2010,
I was doing everything from, the filings, literally everything. And then I started slowly outsourcing all those things to other people. I had somebody else I'd give a fee to like just do the motion writing. And then it was somebody that would just be doing the litigation stuff. And then we started hiring for those roles. So my role now is completely different. I mean, I still spend a lot of time marketing. I was out at the bars every single night, meeting people, handing out my business cards. Even in law school, I was doing those things, developing relationships with folks. Now it is more, I do a lot more trials that I just want to do rather than doing 7 or 8 a year and just pushing along. I'll pick 1 or 2 big ones a year that I want to do, that I'm passionate about. And the rest of the time is like business development stuff, teaching, mentoring. And I really want to have the growth project of Justice HQ. The idea is to have in every major metropolitan area and have the ability to compete on scale. That's kind of where my time is spent these days.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And then if you could tell, I guess, a young lawyer, one of the top things they should be doing in order to compete in this market and really excel, what are you saying? I know we've gone through a couple of things here, but what's like one main thing that you think they should really be investing their time into?
They should be investing their times in the relationships that they want to be in. Every time I see lawyers that fail or cannot do things well, it's because they're in the wrong social circles and the wrong mentorship groups. You have to force yourself into, like, before masterminds were a thing, like I have these text message groups of like the best trial lawyers in the nation, and we just text back and forth ideas and concepts. This has been going on for years, right? Because we forced ourselves into those situations. There's nothing stopping you from doing that right now. Do a vision board. Pick who, like I do this all the time. I have a vision board of where I want my company to go or what I want my life to be like. You can go to Pinterest and pick like what you want your house or office to look like, and then do it. Dream big and actually do it. It's so much easier to force yourself into those situations. But find those mentor groups. If you can figure that out and find somebody to help with you, or find 2 or 3 people eventually to help with you, just vision type stuff and how you get there, that's A1. 2, you can start branding yourself right now so you become an asset. You can go into any firm, write your own ticket if you were bringing in cases. It's the easiest if you're cognizant about it. And sometimes you don't have to be the vocal person like I am. Maybe you're really good at making memes. You know how many cases those attorney meme cases, those accounts get? They have a huge following. They get a bunch of DMs because I know people that run them. If you're funny, you don't want to be the person talking, you don't want to write memes, do like cartoons or avatars, fucking do it. Like, be innovative, think differently. I mean, there's a big play you could do in the metaverse right now if you wanted to. We shall see, but
yeah. How often are you sitting down to go through these goals, and or is this like a yearly activity for you? Are you doing this quarterly? I mean, like realistically, how is that working for you?
I do it every day. This sounds strange, but I mean, if I could show next time, I have my 6-month calendar out on big whiteboards, and I have written down everything that's going on. And then next to it, I write down every single day, I'll write down all the things that I need to vision to take care of today when I get up in the morning. And then as the months go down, I have bigger vision stuff that I want to do. And I set timelines for myself. Like, I want to have this company in this place by this date. And I can look over there and visually see it as I look to my left, as I sit here in my whiskey room / man cave. I just look over and be like, all right, I'm coming up on that date. I better get this fucking cooking, right?
Yeah.
I better start pinging all these things to make it happen.
All right, here. I know you've mentioned 1099 and outsourcing quite a bit. We've got a question from Marissa. Can you explain that a bit more to us?
Yeah. So an in-house employee. So with Mo employees comes Mo problems. As you start to scale, employees start, they have issues. People are going to want, there's different, you have to buy, as you get bigger, all health insurance benefits, 401ks. Also, you're managing this company, you're going to need an HR department, stuff like that. If you outsource it, if you send it to independent contractors who are not W-2 employees, but 1099s, you don't have to provide those things. There are ways you can have like a contract, like a COO or CTO that do things that are fractionally. They work with a bunch of other law firms. These things exist where you can outsource to them. There's outsourced CFOs that I use at a lot of our companies. They do accounting, compliance, CFO meetings once a month. And again, that's not an employee that you have doing those things. You're paying a monthly amount and getting all of those services. And then you can write it off and deduct it at the end of the year because you're using it as a 1099. The less employees that you do have, the more you can pivot, change, and do things. Once you have an employee, it's sometimes harder to get rid of an employee, especially a partner, than it is to get out of a bad marriage. Like, it really is. So be very cognizant of that. Hire well. You can always test drive before you hire. A lot of these people work on contract. If you find somebody you love, maybe you have a lawyer working up counsel for you. and then you love them, and then you want to maybe hire them full time. Same thing with a paralegal. You can always test drive before you go. So that is the difference. You can outsource, you can 1099, and then.
Do you have any recommendations for outsourcing bookkeeping?
Yeah, so there's a great one called Aura. I think it's AURA accounting. And there's two brothers, Brandon, I forget their last names, Crowder, I think it is, with a K. But if you email me or hit me up, I'll tell you. But they do that for, I think, every company that I have right now, and they're fantastic. But it's also industry specific. Like I have a different CFO team, like my wife for her skincare and supplement line, because they know that space very well. When they do raises, they know the people. But Aura's very good at the law stuff.
And for marketing, do you think your method is more effective than chasing SEO?
It depends how much money you have. If you have SEO, you just gotta realize in this industry, there are people paying $200,000 to $400,000 a month to compete to get there. You have to realize what you're competing for. I think there's some fantastic people that do SEO. You can see one right over here that with Maria Monroy at Law Rank, she does a lot of stuff and in Spanish because she's a native Spanish speaker, her and her husband. They will dominate. If you want to go digital, if you do digital marketing SEO, I would absolutely capitalize on an underserved market who are the best clients, that is Hispanic community. And I would go that way with a sub brand if I had to. I think Rankings.io is fantastic. Chris Dreyer and Jason Hennessy is fantastic. There's just a lot of different vehicles, but again, you have to be willing to spend in that area. And you also have to be sifting through a lot of shit. You're getting a lot of phone calls. You're gonna have an intake center. You're gonna have somewhere for that workflow to go. It just depends, again, what you want to do and how you define success. If you want a big pre-lit firm that's doing a lot of intake, do the SEO stuff, invest in it and do it. But if not, like we rank very high at my firm for all these search engine optimization things, just organically, because we're putting a lot of content out there, a lot of teaching content. Like all of my podcasts, we download all the transcripts. Those become mini blogs that could just live on there. You're having organic SEO stuff. And
okay, yeah.
Another good tip that I learned from these folks is I hate writing blogs. I'm not going to sit down and write a fucking blog, but I can talk into my phone into one of these. I think it's called Owly, that will transcribe write down a thought that could be a blog, have it transcribed on your phone, and then you just put that on your website. It's a blog. Very easy. You're just recording yourself talk. These little hacks, go home at night and for 2 hours, go on, answer people's questions on avo.com, go to Facebook groups.
Right, yeah.
We're on Facebook groups. It's very, very good.
Can you repeat the name of the app that you were just talking about? I think it was Aura.
Aura is the outsource CFO. I think it's AURA.
Okay.
And then the other one that transcribed is called Otter.
Otter?
Otter will do it.
Okay. And who are you using for case management software? Do you like them? Sounds like Filevine, right?
Yeah, we're using Filevine, but I'm a huge fan. Like I referred somebody to CasePeer today, and I referred somebody to Clio today. It just depends on what you have or what you need. If you're running like a huge scale shop, like Litify might be your bet because it's on Salesforce, integrates with a lot of stuff. If you're doing a lot of litigation and trials, maybe it's Filevine. If you need something out of the box that can do everything, it's easy for a solo to do. CasePeer. Clio does a lot of billing stuff, and it has probably the most integrations, and they just had like a $150 million raise with a $1.6 billion valuation. So they can do anything, and they're going to come into every space. But I vet a lot. Like I try to personally meet the CEO founders of these companies to see their vision and make sure that it's consistent with what you want to do. But those are the big four, in my opinion.
Okay.
Strokes for different folks.
I think Ginger wants to bring in Richard from HMR, and then we do have some more questions when Richard's all done.
Wait, Rick is coming in? Nice.
Yeah, so you guys know I'm saving one of the best for last. We've got Richard who's coming in from HMR. And as you guys know, HMR has been an amazing partner of ours, also again, for so long. And they're one of our biggest partners. at the Nashville TBI Summer that we're doing again in April. But I'm so excited that you're here with us, Richard. Richard actually connected me with Bob several months ago. And so this is how this all began. Richard helped connect me with Bob, and now here Bob is with us today. So how cool is all this?
Well, no, I met Rich whenever we were in San Francisco and at a convention, COC convention, and board member talking lobbying and stuff. And then I just happened to go to a dinner and sat next to him, and we talked all night. We broke out, and then we got stuck in Mastro's because there was some sort of like riot down the street. It was the best night ever. So now we're best friends.
I love it. I love it. And definitely the t-shirts, the tandem t-shirts, we're definitely twinning. And at the Bourbon of Proof, by the way. So if any of you guys and gals that haven't been to the Bourbon of Proof, it's has Richard's recommendation. So great times. And I mean, quite frankly, I think a lot of people, when they're trying to look for or seek or manifest success, depending on how your definition of success is, it really comes from your community and your network. So if you want to become more like Bob, you gotta act and play like Bob, really, right? So thank you all. It's so great seeing y'all, and I'm so happy to be here. And it's been a while, I know, so it's great to see your faces. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about HMR servicing. So what we do is we're the premier source for basically just about any funds you need for your personal injury plaintiff law firm. So our bread and butter is mostly catastrophic injury cases. So we deal with the traumatic brain injury cases, the spinal cord damages, amputees, debridements, the whole gamut. But we also will help your clients since they're, tied up in litigation. They probably don't have a car because it's salvaged. And they are not working because they're hurt. We can help them advance some money to help pay their bills. And it's the most competitive rate in the country. So by far, if you use us, you're going to get the best deal. And also we're the most flexible. We understand litigation. We actually brought out in select states expert in case cost funding as well, which you're not going to find a cheap rate. I'm telling you, we spent a lot of time in research into doing that. So we have the most competitive rate in that as well. And just to kind of give you an example, like right now I have a minor that's going to Center for Neuro Skills. He has pretty severe brain damage, and the father's blind. So it's quite the challenging task for the attorney. But what's great about HMR, what makes us different, is that our case managers are on top of it. Not only do we have this inside and outside counsel that understands your case, understands you and your needs and your client's needs, we have case managers that do the same thing. So it alleviates some of that pressure, that anxiety, and the workload from you, because you don't have to follow up with us and check up, because we have everything on a T. We understand how to navigate these cases. And of course, we never would do anything without your blessing. So that's what makes us different, is having people who understand you, understand your client, understand your case, understand the litigation. And this kid, his father, obviously had a hard time finding treatment. So they came to us, we helped set it up, and he needs a hotel room. They have no beds at this place. So we're able to actually use the pre-settlement advance program we have to pay for the hotel, and then we can factor the medical bills, which is the way we prefer, and most attorneys prefer to do it, because there's no interest and there's no hidden fees. So you know what you're going to get at the end of the day. And of course, we understand that I always call the plaintiff variable X. So you don't really know what's going to happen. It's almost kind of like dating, you got to get surprised sometimes with the things they say and do. And it could hurt your case, no matter how good of an attorney you are. Those variables that are out of your control. So we understand when things kind of go astray and you need a little bit of support and help on the back end. And we're pretty flexible with that as well, unlike some companies. So other than that, check out the Bourbon Proof and Justice HQ, of course, and keep on tuning in. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, Richard. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I do have a confession to make. Do we have any Georgia attorneys that are watching today who might be a member of the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association who happen to go to the Georgia Audit Torts Convention? Because while, Bob, I don't drink bourbon or whiskey, I will drink what's called a bourbon milkshake. And that is Haagen-Dazs ice cream with a little bit of bourbon in it. It is so
Yeah.
especially if you're at the beach. So you might need to take that up and bring it to Mardi Gras, but it's a great idea that they do, and I do love it.
It could be a specialty drink. You could call it the ginger drink.
And then Richard, again, thank you for all that you guys do at HMR. You guys are amazing. in just a little bit, we're going to bring in Ted with HMR, who's going to be doing the big coffee giveaway. So thank you for all that you guys do. And don't forget to put your information in the chat box so everybody can stay in touch.
Yeah. And what, Richard brings up a good point is all the integration. So whoever you're working with, you got to make sure that it all syncs and talks to each other. So when we talk about freeing up your workflow, your money, your resources, is when we're using funding companies and you're using you can even fund your case costs, your advance costs as a lawyer. You need that money to do other things. If you're running a business, you needed to hire other employees to scale it. You need to maybe put it into marketing. They'll tell you this is how you need to free up those types of things. So you just got to get in the room with the right amount of people, with the right mentorship, with the right companies, and you can automate your law firm and just have a shit ton of fun.
Absolutely. Richard, thank you so much for being with us. And Destiny and Bob, I'm gonna hand it back over to you because it looks like there's still some more questions.
Yeah. So we definitely have more questions. All right. Overhead kills plenty of business. I hear about virtual assistants from attorneys. Have you used them? What suggestions do you have to save money on staff, given these days some businesses are offering entry-level employees upward of $20 to start?
Yeah, so you don't want to have a firm that's built on bloat and overhead. I mean, that's why we get attorneys charging us $600, $700 an hour for stuff that takes 5 minutes to do, right? Because you're absorbing their overhead. And you are right. If you don't want to have that bloat, you can outsource it. There's like the one I put up there, Bolster Legal is a great one. There's like, I have virtual assistants. In the tech world, there's a big 3-to-1 ratio. Well, they'll have one person here and then 3 people overseas that are working a fraction of the dollar. They're doing the programming, the dev. That exists in our world too. I've seen people build it all out, beautifully. Well, they'll have one case manager here, 3 in India or the Philippines that are certified paralegals or maybe even lawyers over there. They're doing your medical summaries. They're doing your demand letters. You wake up, they're 12-hour time difference. You wake up the next day and you get an email with all your shit done for you. This stuff exists. And there's a lot of AI too that's going there too that'll get rid of your need for employees. Like I've seen case text. If you ever seen case text, they will predict the case all that you want and help you write your brief. It's used AI technology. It'll take down Westlaw or Nexus, or they'll have to absorb it. The other one's called Case Brief. Case Brief is another one that it uses AI to fact check all the case sites. So if you're these are products that exist out there. You should make a concentrated effort to listen to podcasts, to be in the room, to hear these things constantly evolving. Like that one Esquire Tech that I talked about. It's so cheap because they use AI, an algorithm AI, in order to do all those things and predict it. That's going to replace law clerks, low-level employees, and you should learn how to outsource and figure out the best paths for it. But it exists.
Okay. And how important are Google reviews to your firm in terms of getting new clients?
So again, Google reviews are very important, even for me that I'm not using SEO or digital marketing. Okay. The one company that we use, which is called Whippy, and I can put you in contact with the owner, WHIPPY, much lower cost than places like Podium, who does your reviews. This is our workflow with us. The same CRM company management that we have is built within this Whippy program. They'll say after a case closes, it'll automatically send a text message to the client to fill out a review for you. They fill out a review, good Google review. You can actually deep six it if it's bad, but then it goes up on your platform, right? You don't want bad reviews on there. And then what happens after they do fill out a review, I then will send them a text message to the platform that says, hey, thanks so much for the review. Here's $200 to spend on our online store. Then all of a sudden they come walking billboards. This is so cost effective for you. People love free shit. They get it this way. You have good reviews that help your SEO. You have a walking billboard out there for you. Okay. So easy to do, but the bad reviews that you get, you got to respond to in a very nice way.
How so?
Yeah. I mean, every time you're looking for a stay in a hotel and you go to TripAdvisor, what do you look for? The bad reviews. Why is there a bad review? And then did the owner respond to it? How did they handle it? Yeah, you just got to be careful about that. And how can we improve? Give me a call. The more they're seeing you're taking the initiative, if somebody's researching it, just think like you're a consumer. Bad review. How did the owner handle it? Because you get a lot of trolls out there. I used to just write trolls gonna troll, and my team was like, you can't fucking do that. So
I don't know that that's going to go that well.
Yeah.
All right, backing up a little bit, was it Bolster, Bolster Legal?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And do they do you outsource your motion work with them as well, or is it just demands? And
They can do motion work. They do have lawyers there. I mean, it's as good as the examples that you give them. They do the demands, motions, all those things. But I do think that if you like, we have discounts with them through Justice HQ. I don't know what they charge for it now, but again, there's AI that is going to take this over eventually. So pay close attention to it. Case brief, case text. These companies are getting large volumes of good motion writing, and the more the algorithm learns on it, the more it's going to be able to do it for you. I've seen them do with Lemon Law, where it's like you can write down the defect, and it'll already do all the stuff that you need to do, all automated with AI.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Who are you using for your medical retrieval services?
One of our vendors that just talked on here, we use them, obviously. But again, it's the important, whoever you're using, the most important thing is it all digital? Do you get the bill quickly so you can pay it, right? And then how does it sync with everything else? If it goes directly, a lot of these places you can teach with an open API or with a Zapier, that one company, it can take it from your medical retrieval company directly in your case management platform and just ping you. So it saves you steps.
Yeah, and definitely use and reach out to Dawn with OnPoint, because she's amazing. What's the name of the international firm for paralegals and case managers?
Say it again. The international.
What's the name of the international firm for paralegals and case managers that you were talking about before?
Oh, the one that does it. It's called like Legal Assistance Sourced, and they really built the crap out of it. Hold on, I'll find it because I just can't. It's the name escapes me for 1 second. It's called, if you go to legalsupporthelp.com, legalsupporthelp.com, they have built out the most impressive like outsourcing infrastructure I've ever seen. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. Does anyone else have any other questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat box. Oh, here we go. That's one more. What is OnPoint's website? Oh, yeah, here we go for Dawn. So we'll reach out to, I'm going to give you, I think Dawn put her information in the chat, which was dawn@onpointlnc.com. And her cell is 610-331-3340.
So I just saw EB Sec, who was also messaging me on the side, message it here. And she's one of the best trial lawyers I've ever met in my life. I've had the privilege of trying cases with her, and she's the most gifted trial lawyer, one of the best humans ever, EB.
Awesome. Oh, awesome shout out.
She'll be president of our trial bar here in Los Angeles, I think in a year or 2 years. So very excited. I saw Joe Bolta say, "Go Ravens." I think he meant Ratbirds. That's all.
All right. Well, I definitely want Evie to reach out to me so we can get her on one of our webinars. And if anybody watching is interested in speaking, we're always booking these. I actually have a whole new set of April webinars that is going to be launching in the next day. So be sure to go to connectionology.com so you guys can stay in touch and sign up. Again, they're all free, and we do different topics, different speakers, and we just have a lot of fun. And it's all because of our incredible partners. They help us continue doing these. I think, Bob, we've actually done almost 200 or so since COVID, and you guys are enjoying them so much. So we're going to continue doing them, including the live seminars. All right. So while you guys are thinking, if you have any more questions, I want to bring in Ted Mullis with HMR real fast, and he's going to do the big coffee giveaway and let us know who is going to win 4 bags of this freshly roasted coffee. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells so good, but it's great coffee, and he's going to tell us who the winner is. And again, we can't thank HMR enough for all that they do. Hi, Ted.
How you doing?
All right.
I
I know this has been wonderful. I love all the tips and everything that we've talked about. And anyway, we're so grateful for you. If you could do the honor and let us know who the winner is.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of Bob's wall. I really, really love all the whiskeys there. But yeah, so excited to announce it's Rick DeVault out of Lee's Summit, Missouri is the winner of coffee today. So I hope you enjoy.
Congratulations, Rick. All right. Well, listen, looks like Ted and I will be reaching out to you, Rick, in just a little bit, but we hope you enjoy this coffee, and we'll make sure that we get your contact information to send it to you right away. And big thanks to you, Ted. Oh my gosh, we appreciate you doing this day in, day out. And don't worry if you guys didn't win today. There will be many more chances next month, right, Ted?
Yep, a lot of upcoming great webinars.
All right, well, we'll see you very soon. And thanks again for being a huge sponsor of ours at Nashville. So we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Ted. And then I also wanted to share my screen real quick and make sure you guys have the contact information for everybody. I am also going to email this to you in just a few moments after the webinar, so that way you can stay in touch with Bob. Although, Bob, I should have put your Instagram handle up here, so I'm going to add that before I email it to everybody. But if you guys go to Planet Fun Bob, follow him. He's got, what, over 50,000 people that is following him. I mean, this is incredible. And or go check him out on Facebook. But like you said, if you'd like to reach out to him, he's a great resource, and we really enjoy and appreciate your time today, Bob. And then also, Destiny, it's always a pleasure. We love having you.
Yeah, I love being here. That was a great topic. Awesome, awesome information. I learned so much, Bob. I always learn so much from all these Connectionology, these webinars, but this was really, really awesome. I'm glad that you're here.
We should have done it at a later time, and then we could have had everybody join in for like a bourbon toast or something. We'll have to do that.
I mean, shit, it's early here, but it's high time, right? What's 1 o'clock? We're fine. It's fine.
Thanks again, Shamara, OnPoint, and Physician Life Care Planning. You guys stay in touch with them. Thank you for using their services. And we just appreciate everybody who's watching. Is there any more questions, Destiny?
No, I think we've hit, I think we've hit everybody.
Yes, and
so
thank you.
Good.
Messages in the chat box. We love you. We adore you. I'll see you back here in, gosh, one day. It's going to be April tomorrow, and with a whole new set of webinars. Bob, Destiny, it was great, and we'll see you guys soon, okay?
Bye, everyone.
All right, bye, everybody. Have a great day.